some points about the Trump program and what we're dealing with as far as expectations for what's going on in Washington, D.C. As you can see from that chart, the past 2 years we've actually seen the federal budget deficit increase. And the numbers that were reported for fiscal 2017, it was a level of around $665 billion. And of course, anything that happens in terms of the Trump program is going to be against the backdrop of, I guess, the deficit hawks in Congress. And what we've seen, of course, over the past 9 to 10 months is that there have been numerous executive orders. There was an executive order that Trump signed in August, which has the intent to speed up environmental review of infrastructure projects, and certainly that could have a positive effect in terms of overall public works activity. The Affordable Care Act repeal and replace, well, I think that's still for the moment. We'll see if it gets revived. We have seen some easing of federal regulations in terms of executive orders, but as of this point, there really hasn't been that much as it relates to the Dodd-Frank banking regulations. And the new nominee for the head of the Fed actually has been supportive of the current system of banking regulations. Moving on to some of the other points. When the Trump administration came out with their budget in May for 2018, it actually included some cuts for public works, particularly for the Corps of Engineers. We don't think Congress is going to be going along with that. So it was kind of an instance, okay, existing programs, maybe we'll pull back on the funding, but we're going to put a lot of our attention towards a federal infrastructure program. And some people remark, well, if that's the situation, you're going to have one outweigh the other, and where's the big benefit? Again, I think this is something that has to play out in Congress. But tax reform obviously is the event that will take shape in the latter months of this year. Will it be passed by the end of 2017? Well, Paul Ryan has said that he intends to keep Congress in session through Christmas to ensure that it is, and we'll see if that actually takes place. But, and after that, I guess we'll be dealing with, is there going to be an infrastructure program? Now, the Trump 2018 budget did call for $200 billion in direct funding over 10 years, and essentially this would be leveraged via tax incentives for private investment into the $1 trillion infrastructure program. Kind of a stretch, and actually, what they had in terms of money for 2018 was $5 billion out of that 200. Again, I think a lot of this will, take shape as Congress deals with the details. And when we've had the broad outline so far, but as far as the exact funding, it's got to deal against the context of an increasing federal budget deficit. And I think, one of the things that has been talked about more over the past couple of months is the prospects of raising the federal gasoline tax, which has stood at 18.4 cents since 1993. As far as the construction of the wall in the southern U.S. border, well, we've had money directed at prototypes, but at least in the continuing resolution that was passed before, there has not been specific funding provided yet for its construction. So, I think, and one of the tricky things when you're forecasting is that you have to make assumptions in terms of, what is going forward. And, obviously in the case of tax reform, shape still forthcoming, and also in the case of the Trump infrastructure program, shape still forthcoming. It was rather, we had to sort of get some, I guess maybe take a middle of the road sort of approach in terms of tax reform being passed, but not maybe to the full extent has been talked about in D.C. And as far as the federal infrastructure program goes, maybe some program does get passed in early 2018. But given the lag in terms of getting the dollars to the construction site, it's not going to have that big an impact in infrastructure until you get to maybe 2019.